Okay, moving on to the next problem. Let us read the problem once. Here, Fahrenheit and centigrade thermometers are both immersed in a fluid. That means I have taken one Fahrenheit thermometer and another centigrade reading thermometer. Both of these thermometer I have submerged inside the same fluid. If Fahrenheit reading is twice that of centigrade reading, what is the temperature of the fluid in terms of Rankine and Kelvin? What we need to understand here is, at a certain point, only one particular point, the Fahrenheit exactly will become twice the value of the centigrade reading. We need to first identify that value, and then keeping that value into account, I am supposed to convert or express that in terms of Rankine and Kelvin. Now, to find out at which particular temperature the Fahrenheit is exactly twice of that of Celsius, we need to do a basic mathematical deduction, which we have written here. Before straight away going to the problem, just with a very small example, we need to understand the analogy. Let me say there is a sister and a brother of the same family. Let me say the sister has taken birth in the year 2000, and on the next consecutive year the brother has taken birth, that is in 2001. To make the things very simple, I have taken just a 1 year of gap. Now, when the sister is 2 years old, she will be 2 years old when it is of the year of 2002. Now, for brother who has born in 2001, he will be just of 1 year in 2002. The sister age will be 2 years. The brother age in 2002 will be just 1 year. Now, at this particular year in 2002, only at this particular year, the age of the sister will be exactly twice the age of the brother. This phenomena will never once again happen in their entire lifetime. That means to say, what I am trying to say is, at a particular value of temperature, the Fahrenheit scale's value will be exactly twice that of the Celsius scale value. Okay. So, we also know that the relation between Fahrenheit and Celsius is T degree Fahrenheit is equal to 32 plus 1.8 T degree Celsius. So, to understand, suppose if I take a ice cold water which is at 0 degree centigrade, suppose if I say I have a bowl with 0 degree centigrade ice water, if I submerge both centigrade thermometer and Fahrenheit thermometer, the water is the same, but in the centigrade it will be showing 0 degree Celsius. The same water temperature in Fahrenheit scale will be showing 32 degree Fahrenheit. You need to understand this very clearly. The numbers are different, but the meaning is same. Why? Because there is only one water. In Celsius it is reading 0 degree, that is ice cold water I have taken. If I read it with centigrade scale, it will show 0 degree Celsius. The same water, if I read it with Fahrenheit scale, it will be showing 32 degree Fahrenheit. The numbers are different, but the meaning is exactly same. Now, I need to find out at which temperature the Fahrenheit will be exactly double the value of centigrade. By knowing this analogy, we will be starting off with the problem. So, we need to find out what is the temperature, and then after finding the temperature, I need to also express in terms of Rankine and also in terms of Kelvin. Now, let me write the given condition in terms of mathematical representation. Now it has been given in words, I need to represent it mathematically so that I can solve the problem. So here I need to find the temperature exactly when the Fahrenheit is twice that of the degree centigrade. So what I have done here is, so I will be expressing the Fahrenheit also in terms of degree centigrade so that the equation solving will be easier for me. So anyhow we have written the expression to express Fahrenheit in terms of degree centigrade. This is the equation. So to justify this equation, we also know that usually the doctors measure the body temperature in terms of degree Fahrenheit. That is why it comes around something like 97 degree Fahrenheit or 98 degree Fahrenheit. If you read the body temperature in terms of degree centigrade, it will come around 37 degree centigrade. So if you apply this formula, you will get the relation between degree Fahrenheit and degree centigrade. You can also convert from, if you know the value in one unit, you can also get it converted to the other one. So here I have applied in the place of degree Fahrenheit, I have substituted this conversion equation. So thereafter deducing it, now I have got the value that T degree centigrade is equal to 160 degree centigrade. What does this mean 160? When the temperature reaches 160 degree centigrade, the Fahrenheit value should be double. So to cross check it, only at 160 degree centigrade the Fahrenheit value will become double. In any other value this is not going to happen. Only in this particular value this phenomena is going to occur, as I gave the example previously. So to verify whether we have got the right value or not, so what will I do? I will just substitute to the conversion equation. Here in T degree centigrade place I have substituted 160. Now the TF what I am getting is 320. So this itself will justify that whatever value we have found in terms of T degree centigrade, that is a right value. Otherwise here you do not get the twice the value of this. If you do not get, that means the solving of the equation has gone wrong somewhere. So you need to cross verify once you get the value. Next, with this value I can transform this degree centigrade to, I can also express in terms of Kelvin and Rankine in a very simple manner. That is what we have done over here. To express the same value, that is 160 degree centigrade, if I want to express in terms of Kelvin, so this is a very familiar formula. We know that to get it in T degree Kelvin, we need to add 273.15 to the degree centigrade. So I will get the value in T degree Kelvin. That is what we have done. It is a very simple thing. So as per the question asked, T degree Kelvin, is 433.15 degree Kelvin. The temperature in Kelvin is 433.15. Next, the same value if I want to express in terms of Rankine, then I will substitute, we know the relation that T degree Rankine is 1.8 times the T degree Kelvin. This is also a very well known equation which my colleague has already discussed during the temperatures expressions of different various types of temperature scales and its relations. So once I know it in Kelvin, now I can easily convert this into Rankine just by multiplying it by 1.8. So the final value is T degree Rankine is equal to 779.58 Rankine. So what are these values? These two values are nothing but when at this particular temperature degree Celsius, the Fahrenheit is exactly twice of this value. The same value has been expressed in both Kelvin and Rankine. Welcome all once again. Let us take up this problem. To understand the problem, let us read the question once. A thermometer is calibrated at 0 degree mark with boiling point of carbon tetrachloride. So what is this statement suggesting? This thermometer, I am calling it as new thermometer, and the thermometer which is right side to this, it is a standard degree centigrade thermometer which is used conventionally. So in this new scale, the 0 degree mark is marked at a place where the carbon tetrachloride boils. That is the point where it has been marked it as 0 degree. It has no units. Only the standard thermometer is having unit, that is degree centigrade. This is a new thermometer, so we have given no unit to it. Next, and the same new scale thermometer has been marked as 100 degree when the melting of lead, that is the temperature at which the lead melts, that particular point has been marked as 100 degree. The next thing is, when this new thermometer is being used to measure, it gives out a reading as 16 degree. So now this thermometer is used to measure a object or a body which is now showing as 16 degree. So now what is the next thing? Carbon tetrachloride boils at 76.75, which has been, okay, this is the information which has been given. The carbon tetrachloride boils at 76.75 and the lead melts at 327 degree centigrade. So one thing we need to understand, here in the new scale thermometer, the 0 degree in the new scale and in the Celsius scale, if it is 76.75, the numbers are different but the meaning is same. As they are two different thermometers, here whatever it is reading as 0 degree, here in the centigrade scale it means it is 76.75. The numbers are different but the meaning is same. In the same way, at the higher mark, the new scale, if it is reading 100 degrees, the centigrade scale reads 327 degree centigrade. The numbers are different but the meaning is same. Now we need to understand, or we need to estimate, when this new scale is reading 16 degrees, what will be the reading of the centigrade scale? This is all the question is about. Okay, now let us start with the solving of the problem. So the very first thing is the linear equation which has been written for the new scale. So it is a straight line equation. N represents new scale. This is T represents temperature. A and B anyhow is a constant. L represents the thermometric property. So once I take the new scale reads as temperature 0 at carbon tetrachloride is boiling. That means I will be substituting at the place of temperature, I am substituting it as 0. At the place of L, I am substituting it as LB. B is representing the boiling point of carbon tetrachloride. So this becomes equation 2, and now I will be also substituting the melting point of lead. That is, at melting point of lead, the new scale or the new thermometer is reading 100, and that is what I have substituted here. At the temperature, I have substituted 100. At the place of L, I have substituted LM. M represents melting. The next thing is, I have solved the equation 2 and 3. Finally, I will get the value, that is the constant value of A, that is equal to 100 divided by Lm minus Lb. Next, the value of A, I will substitute this constant value A in equation 2, so that in an intention to get the value of B. So by doing that, substituting A in equation 2, I am getting the value or extracting the value of B. So both the constants A and B have been extracted. Now I will substitute the value of A and B in the main equation, that is 1. So I know what is A now, what is B. Now I will be deducing the equation for the new thermometer, that is Tn. So finally I end up with this equation, that is equation 4. This is the relation between temperature and thermometric property of the new thermometer. This is the relation between the temperature and thermometric property of a new thermometer. Next, I will be solving for Celsius scale. Now, I have already solved for the new scale. Now, from here I will be solving for the Celsius scale in a very, for a different, as a different parameter. Okay, next. Here even the Celsius scale is also a linear scale, so I have written a straight line equation. The thing is, I have suffixed T with C, so it represents centigrade scale or Celsius scale. So here also I have constant A and B, which is A and B, we have used the same notations A and B on both the equations, but the A and B are this A and B is the constant of new scale, whereas this equations A and B is the constant of Celsius scale. So we are not supposed to get confused or mix up with each other. So while I am saying A and B, this is the constant A and B of the particularly Celsius scale. Next, I will do the same procedure what we have done to the new scale, that is, at boiling point of carbon tetrachloride, the temperature is reading 76.75 degree centigrade. So that I will be substituting to the temperature place, and in the place of L I am substituting LB. Why? Because B represents the boiling point of carbon tetrachloride. In the same way, at lead melting, the question is saying that the temperature is 327 degree centigrade. So once again I will be substituting it in the above equation, that is equation 5. So that is 327 is equal to ALM, M means melting point of lead, plus B. Okay. Now solving equation 6 and 7, I will get the value of A. Now we can clearly see that this A is the constant value of Celsius thermometer, whereas in the previous case we had a different value. We already discussed this before. Next, once again I will do the same technique. I will put the value of constant A in equation 6. In equation 6, so that I will be getting the value of B. Okay. So once I solve the value of B, the equation or the constant value ends up in this particular fashion. Next, what I will do, now I have got the Celsius scales constant, that is A and B. Now I will be substituting it in the main equation of the Celsius scale, which is 5. Once I substitute this, the equation after deducing it, it looks like, after deducing, I am taking 250 common here from the first two terms. So once the 250 is taken as a common, I now want to represent this particular part of the equation. I want this to somehow look like the deduced equation of the new scale. So we can, if we can see the same pattern. So to bring it into the same pattern, what we have done, we have just multiplied, or we have taken 2.5 common, and we have made it to look like 100 into L minus LB divided by Lm minus LB. So here I can see the Tn here, which I have already derived. So to this place I will be substituting Tn. So now we have extracted or established a relation between the temperature of the Celsius scale and the temperature of the new scale. So this is the established relation. Once the relation is established, now the question is, when the new scale is reading 16 degree, what will be the reading of the centigrade scale? So just substituting in this equation, I will get the value, which we have got it as 116 degree centigrade. Okay.
Hello all. I welcome you all to this session of basic thermodynamics. When we discussed about thermometers, we also discussed about thermometric property. A thermometric property is a property which changes with respect to change in temperature. So whenever there is a change in temperature, if a fluid can have, or a substance can have a property which varies with rise or fall in temperature, that we called it as thermometric property. We listed few of the thermometric properties as we listed like in a glass thermometer, length of the mercury changes with respect to temperature. That itself is a thermometric property. Similarly, we also listed down few other properties like a resistance thermometer, in which change in resistance with respect to temperature can be used as a measure to temperature. Similarly, we can have a ideal gas thermometer where change in pressure or change in volume can be used as a measure of temperature. Okay, we are discussing ideal gas thermometers. First, we will look at constant volume gas thermometer. We have a setup which looks something like this. We have a bulb C within which a known gas is enclosed within this bulb B. A certain volume of gas is enclosed within bulb B, which is denoted by yellow color. Then it is in connection with the mercury manometer by the help of a capillary tube. This is a mercury manometer inside which there is mercury. This is a U-tube manometer, and this is a flexible tube which can be raised or lowered. Now, if you want to measure the temperature of any system, this bulb B will be brought in contact with the system whose temperature has to be measured. So if the gas is heated, the volume of the gas will increase, which in turn pushes the mercury in the right limb downward, and on the other hand, in the left limb, the mercury will be pushed upward. So what we will do, first we will set this mercury U-tube manometer such that the level in the right side limb is exactly at L. We called it as lip. So we vary the altitude of this U-tube. This is a flexible tube which we set. If you vary this altitude, we are making such that the mercury level in the right limb touches the lip L. So that is our first step. We made it such that the mercury in the limb touches the lip L. Now what we will do, this is the volume, constant volume. So we are making the volume of the gas to be this much, which we can easily measure. Now this bulb B will be brought in contact with the system whose temperature has to be measured. So obviously, whenever this is heated up, the volume of the gas increases. In turn, it pushes the mercury in the right limb to the downward direction. On the other side, it will be obviously lifted up. Now what happened? This yellow or this certain amount of gas may be somewhere here. So since we are talking about constant volume gas thermometer, in the second step we try to make the volume constant again. How we can do it? We just adjusting the left side of the manometer. If you lift it up, this also you make it such that the mercury in the right side again touches the lip L, such that the volume is constant. We have an ideal equation which we call it as which we denote it as PV is equal to MRT, that is pressure into volume is equal to mass gas constant and temperature. This is an ideal gas equation where the product of pressure and volume will be equal to product of mass, gas constant and temperature. Since it is a constant volume, what we will try to do, we are interested in measuring the temperature T. So, remaining terms we will try to send it to the other side. So, PV by mR. So, look at this equation now. Volume is constant. We are making it such that the volume is constant, mass is constant and gas constant we have. So, any change in temperature, that is delta T, is equal to delta P and all the remaining values are constant. That means to say, we are measuring the change in temperature with respect to change in pressure if you keep the volume as constant. By this way, we can measure the change in temperature with respect to change in pressure, keeping the volume as constant. Hence, it is called as constant volume gas thermometer, and it is also called as ideal gas thermometer. Constant volume ideal gas thermometer, because this gas obeys the ideal gas equation, which is equal to PV is equal to mRT. Now, we will study constant pressure gas thermometer or constant pressure ideal gas thermometer. This setup is the same setup which we used for constant volume gas thermometer, which has a bulb C, which is in contact with the mercury manometer by the help of a capillary tube, and we have a flexible tube. Then we have a lip L. What we will do, we bring the bulb B in contact with the system whose temperature has to be measured, and this side you know that it is open to the atmosphere. What will happen, since this is open to the atmosphere, as soon as you bring this bulb in contact with the system whose temperature has to be measured, the volume changes and this pushes the mercury in the right limb downward and the left limb upward. So, because of which what we are trying to do, this will act like a constant pressure. Any change in pressure, it is not it is transferring it to the mercury, making the system act like a constant pressure. So, in this case, if you leave the gas to expand against the atmospheric pressure, that is like a constant pressure process. We come back to the same equation, that is ideal gas equation, PV is equal to mRT. Since pressure is constant, I am trying to keep the temperature on one side because we are interested in measuring the temperature. So, PV by mR. So, pressure is constant, mass is constant, and of course, the gas constant is there. So, this whole term will be constant. So, any change in temperature will be can be measured with the help of the change in volume. So, that is why we call it as a constant pressure gas thermometer, because the gas inside this bulb is allowed to expand against the atmospheric pressure, which is more or like a constant pressure. So, that is why we call it as a constant pressure gas thermometer, and this is the equation we use for measuring the change in temperature with respect to